welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL. And today we are going to make another modified bracelet. You can see I'm using my PDF from the website, akaawol.com. And one of the first things I need to do is figure out the center areas. So I am spacing it out right here to find where the center is and how long it should be. So I'm only using some like key points because it's all I need. I already know the pattern in my head, and I'm trying to figure out like where the center is, and then figure out the whole the length of it. So it's from a pattern that I already have existing in my collection. So basically, if you're going to try to do this, you would use a bracelet from your collection, something that you already know the length of and that you're happy with, is all I'm saying, which could very well be very different from what I'm working with here. So now I say all that, you can see I now know where the end is going to be, and I'm going to clean this up and reduce the whole image down in size, because that will kind of clear up a lot of the memory in my computer and make it easier to do all of this. So as you can see, we now have the top, bottom, and the center picked out, and we're going to crop the image down to just the bracelet itself. There we go. And then I can get rid of all of the little colors I used to figure out where I was, which is easy, just painting it back to the light blue. There we go. Next, this is the pattern. It is 23524 on friendshipbracelets.net. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the image right there, copy it, and paste it over here. As you can see, it turns out really super tiny. So the first thing I want to do, I want to turn it right side up. So rotate it 90 degrees. And then, see, there we go. Then go to the tool that lets me enlarge it and hit the little scroll wheel until I think it's big enough. And then get the moving tool to shift it over to the side a bit so it's out of my way. And you can see this pattern is, it's essentially, it's an arrowhead where it comes to the diamond twice in a row, which is pretty neat. If you haven't done this pattern before, you should probably give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. But I wanted to take the cool ending that I got off the last time. I don't know if you saw my video of the, what is it, 110,000 was the pattern number. So I liked how that kind of ended, so I wanted to use that again. And I kind of wanted to do something where it was symmetrical top to bottom, as not just from side to side. So we're going to start at the bottom because I kind of like the direction that we have this bracelet sitting right now. And I thought it'd make for an interesting middle part. So at this stage, mind you, I've already created the pattern. I'm putting the voice afterwards because I have to. But at this stage, I wasn't even sure how the middle was going to end up. I knew that it would work itself out one way or another. It would turn into something relatively cool. So and you can see I'm working through I didn't use the colors that was actually in that bracelet, mostly because I don't use black, because that when you go to change the color, if you make a mistake or whatever, it wipes out the outer border, right? So it's just easier just to use a rainbow of colors to make the pattern itself. And so we started red, orange, yellow. Obviously, the next color I'll choose will be green. And yeah, I'm just kind of, looking at the other patterns, seeing how many knots there are, whatever, kind of working my way up it. I know that the dots, like in the middle of the yellow down there, will be green, because it's obvious from the pattern itself, plus the fact that I've done enough of the arrowheads to know that that's kind of a thing. So some of this is through experience. I'm kind of moving ahead. If you get confused, stick with the areas that you know for sure, like the little middle diamonds, and then work your way of building up around it. You know, the key is to keep it easy for yourself. You know, when making these kind of patterns, um, you know, just kind of relax, look at what's going on, and if you need help, you know, you can get a hold of me. I am reachable. Um, you can check out my Discord. You can check out my Instagram. I am reachable. I do enjoy making these videos, and if you have questions, it just gives me more of a chance to answer and create new content. So, you know, that's what I think I want this whole community to be, is a place where we can talk about patterns and making them different and having fun with it. So as you can see here, I can see the end line. Now I could take the blue out to the edge and then I made a great big diamond out of like the next one inwards or something. But I saw an opportunity, like it can still go inwards. And you can see like I kind of hesitating in here because I'm trying to picture how to make this. What kind of a thing do I want to change? And my way isn't the only way. Like seriously, that could have been just a whole series of a diamond in there. But instead I realized that I could bring in the blue and look at how we have a diamond that can build with the purple, right? It's going to end up being like 3 purples in a row, which will make for a really interesting center part of this bracelet. So yeah, I don't know. If I seem a little excited, it's because I kind of am. This is a fun, it's fun to build these things. It's fun to see what you can come up with. And you'll see that I only go to the center line, and that'll become, if you haven't seen me do this before, it'll become kind of, you'll understand here shortly. Basically, once you have half a bracelet, if you're making it perfectly symmetrical, you can copy and flip it so that way you don't have to like fill it in, you know, twice over. So here comes the trickier part. Here is I'm adding in the underlying strings. This is what tells me what string order to start with. You know, that's really important when it comes to making a bracelet. That's probably one of the most important things when it comes to making a bracelet, knowing what colors the strings start in, because where they start will dictate where they are later on as you're doing the zigzags through it. So mind you, this is an intermediate bracelet, I would say. It's only 12 strands, 6 strings if you count it, like if you're doing the loop like I do, right? So if you're looking for the pattern over on my website, it'll say 6 string. It is a relatively easy one. I think this is something that anybody who can work, you know, the right lefts and the left right knots, if you can do those pretty well, if you can do an arrowhead, you can do this pattern that I'm creating here. And you can probably figure out like what I'm doing here. You know that the blue is traveling down, and that's the direction the string has to go. And when it turns, which direction it's going in, right? So that's like here, just knowing that it turns from the yellow, it's pretty kind of obvious because you know the yellow is going to travel. Like if I wasn't sure of it, I would maybe have waited until the yellow is filled in, but I know that that's how the blue gets to where it is. So yeah. But yeah, if you just start out with the notion of following a colors exactly where you know the path is going, like this green, and get all those out of the way, it'll make finding out what strings are happening underneath a lot easier. Seriously. And mind you, I used to do that. This is so easy with the computer, and using GIMP, which is the software I'm using here. This is so much easier than what I used to do. I used to print these things out, go to a copy store and print them, and then color it in with colored pencils and create my patterns. That back before home computers were really a thing. So this is a whole lot easier, and it's a lot easier to correct a mistake. So hopefully you guys can appreciate how much easier we have it today than we did, say, 20, 30 years ago. Well, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. Anyways, yeah, gosh, it's been a long time since I started the whole hobby. But yeah, so there you see, I'm filling in the greens, and again, I'm just following that line down, knowing that it is going to bounce off that orange that way. Sorry about that, my phone's going off. All right, and then I can see that the green is going to travel straight out to the edges, so that's pretty easy as well. Next is the yellows. And I know that the yellow comes from that straight area because just it's basically acting the same way the green had. So that's a thing. And I can trace it upwards because there's enough done already up there that I can see which direction it's going to bounce. All right, because the blue and the green and the purple are all done, I can actually follow that up to the center. So, oh, and you might notice that in the middle of the purple, I know that it is going to be a red, but I left it because it's a great way of being able to check to make sure that you're doing everything right, to make sure that when you are putting in the reds after everything else is pretty much in there, to see that the red actually connected where it was supposed to. If it doesn't, then something went wrong somewhere, and that's a problem. So there we go. We're just following this yellow all the way down. And mind you, this is a pretty quick bracelet design, to be honest. This went very quickly. You're actually seeing real time of me making this. So, oh, see, that was wrong. Control Z, and then go back to it. There we go. I'm just following the yellow all the way out. So at this point, it's kind of hard to tell what the whole thing's going to turn into because of the fact, like I said, we're going to copy and paste to it. But if you want, you can actually just go ahead and check out my website, AKAAWOL.com, go into the tutorial areas, and there will be a web page where this pattern is available. It'll show my video. It'll probably also have a link after the live stream on Saturday. On Saturday, I'll actually make this bracelet. I haven't decided what colors I'm going to use yet. Again, I just used the rainbow for the pattern making because it's really distinct, easy to tell the difference of each of the colors that I'm using. No matter what I choose, I say that the black is where the purple is, or whatever, I can easily navigate knowing that there are those 6 colors. So yeah, this Saturday, 10 p.m. Singapore time, I will make this bracelet live where I'm answering questions and hanging out with my YouTube peoples. So yeah, it'll be fun. Kind of a break from doing the big pillow projects and stuff. So, and you can see whatever I do on the left, I also have to do on the right hand side. It's, that having that kind of symmetry makes it really easy to make sure that everything is moving along right. If you notice a mistake on one side, you know that you double check what happened with the other side. So yeah, I was gonna bring the blue down, and I noticed like, wait, I haven't done the red. The red is sort of a thing. So easier to show you guys again, but through example. I could have figured out where the blue went, but when you do the obvious ones first, the other stuff just becomes so much easier to navigate when you see that there's only one path left. because of how a color, changes direction or whatever. Like this red going underneath the orange, it has to, right? Knowing that that's how these patterns work, because it can only be, right? If it's a red and orange came to one space, one side's going out red, one side's going out orange, and just using that kind of logic to fill it all in just really makes this whole thing kind of easy. You can see I was kind of racing ahead there on the left. Now I kind of catch it up on the right. And you can tell by like the way everything is kind of filled in, there's really only one path left there for the red to actually travel on. So again, this really helps to make things easy. And then here it comes. It's going to go right into that diamond like we knew it would. So we know that by following this, everything was done exactly as it should be. And there'll be a red in that very center spot as well. There we go. And now I can see what's left to follow the purple and the blues down. So hopefully from this you're learning ways to take a pattern, change it for yourself, or perhaps you take this knowledge and you build a pattern from scratch. Maybe you don't use a lot of symmetry. Maybe you do it, something completely creative on your own. That's a possibility too, and I welcome you to it. I think that's a really cool thing to do. There's endless possibilities, I think, with bracelet making, and I definitely encourage people to try and create something themselves. Like this is going to be something completely different, kind of exciting. So, and it'll be fun to make it with you guys. I'm looking forward to Saturday evening because this is going to be fun. All right, so there it is. I have half of it done. I get the tool that allows me to copy, or well, to crop, I guess. And oh, I had to move the line first. I didn't have it exactly in the middle like I wanted. So there, it's lined up real nice. And this tool here will lock on place. Now, I could have shrunk this thing down a little bit. It would have avoided this slow scroll, but it is what it is. Get it to where I have the whole thing on, and make sure that that thing is right up there to the center line. And Control C, Control V, and then I have to use the flip tool. So funny, I had to look for it. There it is. And you're flipping vertical. And then I use the move tool to slide that into place. And again, because I have that middle guide there, it'll kind of lock into place. And then it's about shifting it to right where it needs to be. And you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to actually move it over 1 pixel at a time. So that's pretty handy. So there's the pattern. Go check it out over on AKAAWOL.com. And thanks again for watching my video. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.